Hi guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Kit and Krysta Podcast.
Made it past episode 1. We're back.
Yeah, but big accomplishment. We uploaded. It's out there. Episode 1 is out there.
We did it.
We did one thing, so we're back with number 2, I guess.
Did you think of well, what if this just bombs? What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
I mean, we could always
I definitely had that
pivot to Wordle. We could become the Wordle podcast.
Oh my God, no, there's too many, too crowded.
I actually don't play Wordle, so maybe not the best idea.
Too crowded.
But yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had that thought, but that didn't happen.
No.
So seems like you guys really enjoyed episode 1, which we're so happy to hear.
Amazing reaction to episode 1.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone that listened. We've been reading all of your great comments, and it's so nice to see everyone's reactions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this is what this is now. So glad that you like.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's just like, this is it.
It was interesting to see, all the different ways. Like, there's people who listen on audio, people who like to watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're available all those ways.
Yes.
So, if you didn't know about the YouTube version, you can check that out. If you didn't know about the audio versions, you can check those out.
Yeah, the audio versions are available pretty much anywhere you get your podcast.
Yeah.
Video versions, obviously, we're going to put on YouTube, and there's a lot of you that watch it on YouTube. We were a little surprised.
Right.
Episode 1 was pretty long.
It's a little long.
Yeah, and we totally were we didn't hold back. We're not going to hold back ever, but we just had a lot to say, I guess. So we were just like chit chat for like an hour and 40 minutes, and apparently you guys don't mind watching our faces for an hour and 40 minutes, which is like, whoa, okay. We are going to be doing, for video versions, because it seems like a lot of you are watching the video version, we are doing chapters in the YouTube video, so you can like click through the different segments. So we're going to be doing chapters for Nintendo Story Time, for our little like Kit and Krysta.
We'll just find the best little bits, and we'll post those.
We'll post those, and then we're doing highlights as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways for you guys to watch the video versions if you don't prefer to watch an hour and 40 minutes.
But this is the week for our Patreon members where it starts to happen, which is very exciting.
Yeah, so Patreon members get the episodes 48 hours early. Video and audio versions will be available. On Wednesdays for our Patreon members. Thank you so much, by the way, for everyone who's joined our Patreon family. If you have not joined yet, it is patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. We'll put the links everywhere, all over the place. But yeah, it's a growing community on Patreon. We're always doing other posts there. We're prioritizing our Patreon member questions. And we're going to add more things to Patreon very soon as well.
And the audio version and the video version will be available Wednesdays there too.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. And then for everyone else, everything will be available on our normal day, which is Fridays. Highlights, full video versions, audio versions, and we've been posting some bonus videos as well. So be on the lookout for those. Yeah, it's been a busy week last week, but I think we couldn't have asked for more, and we're just so grateful that you guys are sticking with us and you like the podcast so far. We're so excited to keep making these. It was so much fun for us.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
There was a lot we were doing literally for the first time, like on the fly.
Yes.
And it's like, we'll just figure it out, and we kind of did. I mean, there were some rocky moments.
There were some moments at like 11 p.m. on the Tuesday
night. What are we doing?
Yeah, it was a little rocky. I mean, I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but we'll be talking about Nintendo Minute today, but when we did Nintendo Minute, we had a production team. Like Nintendo was helping us make the videos. And that was very nice. And something that we were very lucky to have, like a great team that helped us do all the editing and did all our audio and all that stuff. We don't have that anymore. So it's just like me and you learning all the things, like Kit's doing all of he's our audio technician, audio producer. Loosely termed.
Oh, well, that's fine, actually. I imagine, that meme of that guy just like ripping off the headphones. I was like, audio experts everywhere listening to the Kit and Krysta podcast, just in disgust. Like, oh, terrible.
Oh, no, I hope that's not the case. It sounded okay to me. But,
no. I'm actually having a moment of paranoia with this video right here. So in the middle of the show, I'm taking off my microphone to check it. This is how raw this gets.
Why?
I'll tell you if it's a real problem.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to go see. See, look at me. This is happening.
What's happening?
Nothing.
Okay. It's okay.
I told you. It's my moment of paranoia.
Yeah.
Now I'm putting the mic back on. This is how real as it gets.
Oh my God. You guys can't see the studio setup right now, but we have the camera and a mirror behind the camera, which is how we know.
To fuel the paranoia.
Which is how we know the thing is recording.
Right.
Could there be a better way? Probably yes.
Yeah.
Do we have that way set up right now?
We don't know.
We sure don't.
We don't know.
Yeah.
This
so
is
anyways,
the early days. Come along for the ride.
Yeah. Laugh along with us in all our blunders, please. Please. Also, be here for emotional support.
People got to see me stand up. That's exciting. It doesn't happen every episode.
I'm glad you didn't knock things over. There goes Rob. Yeah. There goes that poor plant that you've been whacking for the last 2 weeks.
The plants have been adjusted. They should be safe. I don't know about yours though.
Mine's fine.
You're anti-plant, we know.
I'm not. I love these plants. I bought these plants.
Okay.
But yeah, we're super pumped to start episode 2. What's on our list today? We got the run of show again. Very professional.
I got all my stuff on the ground, just like a.
Because you had to get up. You had to stand up.
Look at all these reasons to watch on video. Me standing up, me knocking this plant, whatever. So we got a very cool Nintendo Storytime segment today, which is the Nintendo Minute origin story.
Oh yeah, everything has an origin story. Yeah. This one was actually pretty interesting.
Which we talked about in loose details before, but we're going to be going real deep.
Real deep. But we have some
we've unearthed
some documents.
Some mental jewels have been mined to share.
That's an interesting
Look at the
way
imagery.
to put it.
I'm painting you a picture, you see.
Okay.
We've got a very fun, we still don't know a name for this segment. Is it Never a Minute or Still Not a Minute?
Someone said still never a minute.
I don't think people have a strong opinion, so we should go with what I think. That's my logic.
Fine.
Where we're going to be talking about the non-Nintendo games and series that we love. I'm very excited about this.
Yes,
that's
me
great.
too. And you guys have been asking about this too. Yeah. We want to tell you.
And then we're talking about what we're playing. We got some news. We got some questions from you. It'd be a great time, so hang around.
New games came out this week. It's pretty exciting overall.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's do it.
Let's go.
Should we
let's
jump into
into this.
Big, meaty Nintendo Storytime topic for today?
So let's set the stage for this. So Nintendo Minute started in May 2013.
Yeah.
But what was really the starting point, I think, for all of this was Nintendo launching social media channels, which, there had been channels established, but I think it was really the E3 of 2012, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Where all that stuff launched and it became a major priority. And you were actually part of the group that did that.
That's right. So I think what the cadence was we launched Twitter, and we had a Nintendo Twitter channel. It was the earliest one, and pretty easy for the very small team of one to sort of keep up with the text and everything. But it was a pretty big discussion to launch. I think Facebook was next.
Yeah.
And then YouTube.
Right.
Facebook was a bit of a crazy scramble because we had just so many different Facebook pages we were launching at the same time. So it was like, at that time, it was like the 3DS page, the Mario page, the Zelda page. So they were all separate. And I was in the lobby of the JW Marriott Hotel during E3 with one of our coworkers. And we were literally just like shaky hands pressing, clicking live.
Just like launching the Kit Krysta Podcast.
It was just like, here we go! Here we go! And I just remember like this really surreal moment. Like, okay, this is just like, again, one of those things where it's like, this is out in the world now. It's public. Everyone can
deja
see
vu.
It. Yeah.
Now, I have I've never told you this.
Oh.
This is a never before revealed.
What?
It's actually
I knew everything about you.
It's a complaint, actually. I have a gripe.
About the social channels?
Well, so we were in the public relations team at the time, but you kind of, for that E3, was like, okay, Krysta needs to work with the social media team, which didn't exist at the time.
No.
So it was just like grabbing people here and there. But it's like, Krysta's going to work a lot on this. And I did not get to join that group. I was just doing,
Regular PR.
And it was like grinding yourself down, doing like booth tours and interviews.
That was tough. You're on your feet all day.
It's very hard. And every time I saw somebody come out of that social media room, they were high-fiving and patting them on the back, and they just like,
oh, jealous or what?
We're doing stuff. We're the best. We're cool. We're the hot new thing. I was like, those jerks.
You're jealous?
I wasn't jealous, but you were a little annoying. I
think you were jealous. I think that is the green-eyed monster, as they call it.
Is it really that great?
I mean,
well, scant.
It was
less than 5 years later, I was in charge of it all.
That was your play all along, wasn't it?
Empire.
Oh boy. It's like the power hungry grab.
Grasp the means of production.
The reins in your hand. But yeah, when we did that, it was just like, and of course, Nintendo's a very conservative company.
Sure.
So it was like a lot of stuff that led up to it.
I think that was actually a really good way to approach it. It was not just like, oh, la-di-da, let's just jump into social media.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much planning and thought.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And it's like, you think social media is just this easy thing to do where it's like
pretty logical.
Oh, I'm just like farting out these tweets, but it's like, no, it's actually a ton of work and planning.
There's like the back end of like how the process works to get something live is ridiculous.
So that was very wise, I think, in hindsight. So that's what started this whole thing going on. And then around the holidays of 2012, when we were launching the Wii U, the person who was actually in charge of social media at the time went on maternity leave.
That's right.
And I was chosen to kind of...
Again, there was no social media team, really.
Sit in, fill that seat.
Yeah, someone just pulled somebody to help out.
And I had no idea what I was doing or what I was supposed to be doing. But everything just kind of kept going. I was like, you keep...
That sounds good. Keep tweeting that stuff. Trailers? Great. Put that on there.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Mario? Okay.
More Mario. People love that.
Lots of Mario. Let's do that.
So I was doing that for a couple months while she was out. And I guess that must have been where, the seed of an idea of like, oh, maybe we could have kind of be in a position to recommend some content for these channels at that time.
And the channels are pretty sparse and very like, no offense. I mean, I was working on this, so it's really, I'm offending myself, but it's like, it was kind of bland, right? Like it was very straightforward.
Well,
like,
that's the thing about these channels is like, it's like a roaring fire. You need to be pouring
the gasoline,
fresh content, fresh fuel. I'm shoveling coal into a locomotive is what I'm doing.
A runaway train.
Yeah. It's crazy how much content these channels need.
They require you to just be constantly.
So again, I think that's where we started to have the root of an idea of like, maybe there's something that we could make, that we could contribute in a different way that we don't have. And I remember, this was such a bad move on my part. I asked one of the people to write up this proposal. I didn't even do it myself, which is such a jerk move.
You were.
I was like, I'm too busy, but I got this big idea that features me. But that was just like, let's get this on paper. Let's see how this looks. And I think we started just like talking to a few people about it. And before we knew it, we were like filming episode 1.
Yeah.
I guess obviously that was in May. So there was a couple months that had passed.
We did plan though.
Of course.
We were definitely like selling the idea in. We were giving a lot of examples of what other types of content was on these different platforms. Because like, again, like Nintendo was just putting very straightforward sort of like, here's
trailers
a trailer,
or commercial.
Here's a commercial.
Right.
Like it was just...
And that's because that's what was available.
Exactly. We didn't have anything else.
Totally. Now we had different sort of points of inspiration.
Yeah,
I would say for
I think
this.
so.
So like what were yours? Because they're so different. It's so interesting too.
Yeah, mine was definitely looking at other creators on YouTube. Like I was like deeply ingrained, and I loved like, just seeing what other creators were, what kind of videos they were making. I loved how like raw and unscripted and just like authentic those types of videos were. I liked how like little production there was. It was just somebody that was playing a game with just shooting their reactions, and it was unedited. And I think that was what was really interesting, because on the opposite end of that was the Nintendo channel, which was very much like scripted and produced, and the professional commercials or professional
everything was perfect
trailers. And so I was like, what can we do that really is a set apart from that? Right. Yeah.
And mine, I had one very big influence, which was the 1UP show, which was something that Ziff Davis, who owned 1UP and EGM and all of those gaming magazines back then, it's crazy like how ahead of its time was. Like this was like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
And they were putting out like a weekly show that was like bringing in all of these different perspectives and personalities, and felt very fresh, but also very like this was a real show.
Like really legitimate.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously the first episodes of Nintendo Minute were not that, but I just felt like if we just started doing it, we would get to that point.
Eventually we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Right, was the goal.
Did we though? I don't know.
And then the other big one for me was Giant Bomb, who had started, a few years before us, and again had just kind of brought this very fresh personal viewpoint to things.
That's the one thing that I think you and I both had in common when we were really germinating this idea for Nintendo Minute, is that we wanted it to be very personal. I think that was like the main differentiator. Like, you kind of got that sense from watching the 1UP show or from Giant Bomb. I got that from watching these creators. But we were like, how can we bring like this personal touch to this very like monolithic brand, you know? And that was really, I think, something that was at the core of Nintendo Minute that we really like started from the very beginning of the show. And I would say that we were able to carry it through for 8 years. But that was really important to both of us, I think. Right.
You know, I think also it was so interesting. Oh, I just lost my thought.
Oh no!
Isn't it funny how that happens? line.
Desperately reading the run of show.
No, but you know, you had that different perspective where it was like, let's do a tag video.
And
that was
video too.
And I was like, I don't even know what a tag video is.
Yeah.
But I think that was great that we had that kind of dual. Yes. If we had just come from the same point of inspiration, it probably wouldn't have been what it was.
Right. I think, we were going to talk about like the first couple of videos of Nintendo Minute, which I did look back and watch some of those. That was a little tough, by the way. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
I watched some of those this weekend before we were going to film this show, and I was like, oh my gosh. But video 2 was the tag video. Because again, I was like, we need to come up with some kind of content that's like relevant to people watching on YouTube.
Too.
And interactive, yeah. So that was like very popular back in the day.
Yeah.
That is not popular now anymore. It's been a long time
well, that's good, because I'm still not sure I know what a tag video is.
We're going to tag somebody right now.
Tag your friends.
You answer these questions in the comments.
Stop it. You're it.
But then like we video 3 and like the other videos.
Are you just listing videos at this point?
No, I'm just saying like, whoa. Video 3 and 4, like the ones that we were like doing early on, where someone featured guests. Some of them featured, you know, other people from other like
we had
studios and
Capcom
stuff.
on very early.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was probably inspired from the 1UP show.
That's kind of amazing that we got them on that early. I mean, they were literally down the street from us, but...
Yeah, but also, like, we had no credibility at all, and I have no idea why they let us put Monster Hunter, a great, amazing...
Giant franchise.
Yeah, giant franchise, amazing game, and they let us, like, preview it on Nintendo Minute.
This totally unproven thing,
Thanks for believing in us, Capcom. You're awesome.
Right. But you know, again, also, like, you talked about, like, you know, we were showing this to people, we were getting, you know, people's thumbs up. Like, it was not, again, the channel was so much smaller than it is now. Like, now it's like, you know, 8 point whatever million people.
Yeah.
Like, the expectation is different. Like, the expectation is, like, you're not going to ride out some rough patch while people figure it out. It's like, no, it needs to be really good.
Polished, like right up front.
And we were kind of at the right place at the right time where we, you know, it was like, oh, we want to do this, but we're going to have to work out some kinks.
Yeah.
And it was okay because it was not like everybody's eyeballs were not on that channel.
Yeah. And you always talk about like how you and I sort of like grew up in that studio.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's what happened to the channel too. Like the channel like sort of grew up when we were growing up in the studio. So we just had like this weird like sort of like protective layer of freedom around the show, where, you know, for anything else, I think the big bosses at Nintendo would probably have a lot more, they would probably want a lot more control and a lot more like ways to approve things. I mean, we didn't script anything ever.
Right.
We never shared like any outlines with anybody. We barely got like final episodes approved. Like sometimes when they were preview, like games that didn't come out yet, we'll send it to the developers to approve. But other than that, like when we're doing like our random like videos and stuff, no one looked at those.
Yeah, it was really just us.
We looked at it and we're like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Get it live.
Right.
Which I don't think they can do this at Nintendo anymore, honestly.
No. I mean, I think it helped that we were the like spokespeople.
Yes.
And we really, you know, earned our stripes doing those.
Yeah.
And those, you know, interviews are high pressure, tough situations where you need to think on your feet. And I think it was, you know, this is my guess. It was just like, all right, you know, they know
how to do that.
They know what the guardrails are. They know how to speak delicately about delicate topics, and it's fine. It's not something you need
I think
to worry about.
we did have trust already because we were part of the PR team before this, and
totally.
Yeah, and like you and I did some crazy like on-camera stuff before, you know.
Yeah, if it was like,
you know, Home Shopping Network for 8 hours.
Johnny sales rep, you know, was like, I'm going to do a YouTube show. Yeah, right, buddy.
But even so, you know, there's spokespeople still at Nintendo now. I think it's going to be tough. Like,
sure.
The environment's different now. Now the channel is 8 million followers as our subscribers. So it's like, what are you supposed to do?
The channel's huge. But some of the interesting kind of hurdles we had out of the gate was, you know, again, you talked about by the end we had like a proper production team. We didn't have that.
No.
Actually, for several years from the beginning.
Yeah.
We had the wonderful producer Stephanie.
Yeah, producer Stephanie and I went to a Final Cut Pro class in San Francisco and learned to edit. She took over the editing because I was doing so much of the on-camera stuff and more of like the production. Like you and I were doing more of the production side.
Obviously we could not have done that.
Yeah.
But she was also just from the PR team. And it was just like, you want to do this cool, crazy thing? Yeah, sure.
Sure, why not?
Let's check it out.
Let's just have fun and try it out.
Yeah, but it, you know, again, just like this podcast, there was a lot of like, oh, is this working? Did I delete the footage? What happened?
Yeah.
And
is the audio, the video?
That did happen sometimes.
That did happen. Also with a Capcom video, surprisingly. Sorry, Capcom. And also
we made it up to them.
We made it up to them.
We made it up to them. We're square.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too with the first, like, I would say the first maybe like 6 to 8 months of videos is, so we would be shooting the videos at our Redwood City, California office, because that's where Yumi and producer Stephanie were that was our home office. And then we would then ship all the footage off to Redmond,
headquarters,
where they did have like a proper like AV team. And that team, again, what their focus was like making these trailers, making very like polished, produced. And they definitely knew what they were doing. There's like a proper studio there.
Well, they're amazing.
And an amazing team and a beautiful camera equipment that we're like, oh, this is expensive. And they would consult us a lot and in the early days before we stole them for our own production. But they would consult Stephanie a lot on what to do. But they were also far away from us. And so if you needed someone... Like, you couldn't look over at someone's shoulder and be like, hey, can you make that edit?
I do remember some, like, panicked phone calls, though, like, right before it was, like, filming, like, how do I do this?
How do I do this?
This thing's acting up.
Yeah, and I would write editing notes. Like, I would literally draft, like, these crazy editing notes to the team there and, like, say, like, this is what we want the videos to feel like. Here are examples of videos like this on YouTube. Don't edit, like, this way, edit this way. We would, like, give them these crazy notes. Yeah. Because we weren't in that office, so it was really hard to like kind of get your vision across a little bit in those early days. And we were trying to figure it out ourselves too, like trying to figure out our style and like how we wanted these to look, and it was just like this huge hurdle of like just even like getting an episode out was so much legwork.
Yeah, but we'd always film it on a Monday and try and get it out. We didn't have a schedule for the first couple.
Yeah.
But it was pretty early on that we decided, let's go weekly have a video out Friday. So we'd film it on a Monday. Crazy process to get it done and get it out on a Friday.
Yeah. And we adjusted that a little bit as the show started to grow and we got
But we ended up that was like for 7 years. Like that was the schedule.
Yeah. And you know, we really decided early on. I distinctly remember this conversation with you about weekly videos.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if we want to do this for reals, everyone has, you know, the consistency is the key. You have to be on a schedule for people to keep tuning back in. And I definitely agreed with you, but I was so scared to be on a weekly schedule.
Frightened?
I was really nervous because the work that we had to do to get filmed to live was just insurmountable at the time.
Right.
You know, it just felt like if any little thing went wrong, we were like really in some hot water.
Right.
Like, talk about the 11 p.m. on a Thursday night, you know? Like, you just need to like keep everything crossed and like, you know.
Right.
Make sure that there's no weird hiccups with all the little tiny things you had to get done.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing is like, again, this was not like a big company initiative. There was not like the like Nintendo Minute Initiative, call for casting. Like there was none of that. It was like we just started doing it. So people viewed it as like, all right.
Side project.
Fine, this is a little passion project for you guys. It seems to be going well. You know, you can do it, but make sure you're doing your
your real job.
Quote, real job.
Make sure it doesn't interfere with your real job.
Right. So I think for us, it was like a lot of this happened like after hours. Like,
oh yeah.
I think it was,
I'm not kidding about the 11 p.m.
I don't think I ever like reviewed a video during like actual working hours.
No,
it was always like at home later. Because
you know what? Because the person that was editing it also had another job.
She didn't have time either.
And she was doing it after hours too. So she would like do her real job.
Yeah.
And then 5 p.m. would roll around. She's like, okay, now I have an hour or 2 hours to edit a video. So we get an edit at like 8 p.m. and we review the video at like 9 p.m.
Yeah. So it's kind
of
like,
that was the schedule.
It's kind of underrated and crazy that at no point anybody said like, yeah, you know, this just isn't worth my time. I just want to kick my feet up and watch this reality TV instead of editing. But that never happened.
It never happened.
No.
And I think we all just realized right away how special it was.
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
I feel like that was what kept me going all these years. I don't know about producer Stephanie. She's like, I was forced.
I think she was probably afraid of you.
Why?
You really let her have it a couple
I love
times.
producer. We're very good friends, actually.
So another big hurdle we had to get over early on was like, how do we show an actual game?
Oh my gosh.
Because it was early on, it was like, oh, we'll just get some footage and we'll talk over it. But it was like, no, we should play some games.
Yeah.
But we had no way to
capture
do
the
it.
game.
And we would, again, ask those AV people, like, well, how do you do it? And they're like, well, you need the, it's like, yeah, okay, we're not getting that stuff.
And the equipment they had was like very complicated.
It's crazy.
And it was like only a professional could act. There was no Elgato, okay?
Well, eventually that's what we started to use.
We did start using that, but that was like years later. Right. That was like 2 or 3 years
So for those first couple ones, we were just like literally filming a TV.
Oh,
we would put the camera behind us.
No, it was so awkward. I watched that video and I was cringing so hardcore. So it was like me and Kit sitting offset from the TV.
And it was like, hi guys. So today we're playing Pikmin 3.
And the TV was here. Yeah. And then the camera angle was like the worst.
There was like glare on the TV.
You can't see us or the gameplay. So like, what the heck was the point?
It was terrible.
It was so bad.
But it was the best we could do.
It was the best
at the time. And again, the viewership, the people who were watching, like they were just happy to see these games. So nobody ever got too negative about it.
That's true. We could have done better, but no one really called us out.
Right.
And the other thing too with gameplay is like we were really scared because again there was some fear because gameplay was like very tightly controlled, quality controlled for obvious reasons at Nintendo because of course they want the games
especially before a game is out.
Yeah, they need the games to show in the best light possible, which totally makes sense. And so of course we were like, don't mess this up. Like we can't show this game in what if it looks glitchy or like weird because we filmed it in this like random way. So there was a lot of like just challenges there too before we had a way to capture the footage. And then of course, this was like 3DS days. There was really no good way to capture.
Yeah, it was tricky. Yeah, you needed this
weird special capture unit thing.
Very hard to use.
It was very hard to use. There was a lot of weird cables and it was like something that Nintendo built, like it was proprietary. So it was really really challenging for us to do like any 3DS stuff.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And again, the first episode was in May, which is right before E3. It's like, boy, that was really dumb to kick this thing off like right before E3 when we're so busy. And like, I mean, we'll probably talk about E3 later, but that was just like, everybody is so like heads down focused on that.
Yeah, they're not going to have time to edit your 3DS eShop favorites video. Are you kidding me?
What were we doing?
We were busy with E3 too.
I know. So
I don't know how we...
I really don't know.
How we decided to shoot that test episode. And then I think the second episode was E3 reactions.
Yeah,
it did help fuel some content.
We did it after the fact.
Yeah. But we went to E3 and we came back and I think we shot the E3 video.
Right. But then, so being able to play a game was a big milestone. And then I think another big milestone, and I think this is as far as we should go, is like our first developer. Like,
oh my god!
Like we had Ms. Kyogoku join to talk about
super early days.
This was like basically a year after the launch. It was before E3.
This was for Animal Crossing
New Leaf.
Yeah.
And that is a very poor video, I would say, because we had never done an interview that included translation before,
and so many guests.
Yeah, and those are just super hard to figure out because, like, how do you make a conversation not look awkward when you're like, I'm talking to you, now I'm hearing what the person's saying from you.
Yeah, and where does the translator sit? Are they in the shot? Are they going to voice over afterwards?
Right.
But we should talk about that a little bit later because we have a lot of developer stories about when they were featured on Nintendo Minute. But the early days of that and figuring that out with a top Nintendo developer on a game, again, that was like ridiculously important and like scrutinized as Animal Crossing is. It's like, why did we this was a hard thing to do that we maybe could have like made our lives a little easier, but I don't know, I feel like we learned a lot and we wanted to do it.
I feel like I remember we planned a lot for that, but there was so much that we just couldn't have anticipated without having done it.
Just to do it.
Yeah, but they were very good natured about it.
They were so gracious.
They were happy with how it turned out in the end.
Yeah, I think we have a really cute photo of the four of us all together. I think Mr. Iguchi was there as well.
Oh yeah, he was in it as well.
So there was two Japanese developers. It's just really complicated.
Even harder.
Yeah, really complicated.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I think you guys might, if you look at these old videos, I don't even know why I'm encouraging you guys to look at these old videos, but if you look at these old videos.
It's fun to look.
So embarrassing.
I'm not embarrassed.
I am. You'll see that the old studio was very different.
Well, it's the same room, we should say.
It was the same room. We had this little corner room at the Redwood City office that first was made into a press room, so we would do like media demos in there. And we worked on a few campaigns where we would just basically like dress up the room in the style of that game. So it was
Kirby's Epic Yarn
was the first version of that. I Am 8-Bit did all those rooms
they
for
did,
us.
they did all those rooms. And those
by the way,
super
they're
cool.
awesome. So
it
was amazing to have like these amazing artists come in and like doll up the room for us. And then the second iteration was it Majora's Mask?
It was actually just an overall Zelda room because it definitely had the moon from Majora's Mask.
I remember the moon,
but it had
very clearly
little bits of different Zelda games.
We had like Hyrule Castle behind us for like the longest time.
And the floor was like fake grass.
Fake grass.
It was very peaceful and nice to go into.
It was kind of nice.
Yeah, but it was not made for filming a show. So as we used that room more and more for that, it was like, we need to change it up.
The walls were like
very
glare,
very glary.
Had glare on it, but our old background, you might remember that from these old videos, were because we were in that press room, and we were kind of like just using the space because there was no other place to really film and stuff. So, and then of course we improved that along the way.
But now I did, I was going through my
archives,
my personal document archive, and I came across this, which was this was May 13th, 2013 is the date.
Yes.
And I think this was like right after the first episode had come out. And I can tell that you wrote this.
I did write this.
I know that you wrote this. And it's like, what are we doing?
I used smart art in PowerPoint. I can tell by
create share-worthy content for social media. Look at that.
To drive engagement.
Yeah.
Look at these words.
It could be 2013, could be 2023. It still works. It's still good.
Provide highlights of NOA news in a different, more personal way in order to foster further propagation of
propagation. Look at you using that thesaurus.
This is where I literally was like, let's put in all the marketing terms.
It's not snackable though?
It's not snackable.
That's a term that
propagation
I really don't like.
Of that information.
Of that what information? That information. Excuse you. What else we got in here? I think that you utilize YouTube specific features. Mm-hmm. That's
create YouTube trendy videos such as haul or tag videos. We did a lot of haul
us. We were chasing those trends.
That's right. As an interesting, relevant way to share Nintendo news to this audience. Wow, I'm really smart.
Yeah, and then we just got this video has 22,000 organic views. Jackpot!
Jackpot! First Nintendo Minute video went live on May 9th.
Yeah.
And we have stats, and
they say.
I like this slide of all of the comments from fans.
It's good to cherry pick the best comments. Check this out.
Out of the 90 comments, the 4.
To be fair, across all of Nintendo Minute, we never had much hate in those comments.
That's true. We were really lucky. Yes. You guys were nice to us.
Right.
Yeah. I like this little.
Well, now you're just reading this.
I'm now reading comments. This is like my normal life now.
Put it down.
I read comments every day, and I'm reading comments from 2013. Apparently, how fun that you kept this little thing.
So I think that brings us to I think that's a good place to wrap up the origin story, because if we go much further, it will not be the origin story.
That's right. This is the origin story. Right. Yeah. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And this is how it is now.
How it started and how it's going.
That meme is dead. You can't say that anymore.
Oh, rats. No. Well, I gotta. I made a Punky Brewster reference.
Pogs.
I made an Alf reference on Twitter that was actually a Simpsons reference that you didn't get.
That I was called out by many people on.
Mark McDonald of 8-4
and Craig Harris. I was like, oh, you guys.
They came to my defense. My peers.
You're definitely your peers.
Oh boy. Anyhow, we're moving on. So our Never a Minute segment. This is a super fun one.
Yeah, this is one that we've been wanting to talk about for so long.
Because we get so many questions like, do you play games that are not on Nintendo systems?
Yes.
It's like, yeah.
Of course we do.
Of course we do.
What kind of animals do you think we are?
You do have some weird blind spots in your history. Like you never had a Nintendo 64.
Until recently.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Until recently.
But let's see. Starting with, I was a mostly Nintendo person until I got to like the PlayStation generation.
Yeah, me too.
And then I had Dreamcast, Xbox, and I've had everything.
And then I've had everything since.
Right.
Same here.
Everything.
Yeah. As soon as I had like a job, I felt like
money.
I needed the money, okay,
right.
to buy the things.
Yeah. So I had everything from there. So yeah, we've been playing it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously on a official Nintendo show called Nintendo Minute, we are not talking about
on the Nintendo
Halo
channels.
Or we
can't
Gears of War or whatever.
And I guess we've been not like again cagey about this stuff, but we just never went into depth with you guys on this until we're able to do that now. So it's super nice.
Yeah. So we are sharing our top 5 non-Nintendo series
that we love.
I'll let you. It's weird when we talk in unison. We don't need to do that.
I was just reading the thing. Non-Nintendo series that
we love. Yes.
That we love. Yes.
This is not ranked.
This is not ranked. No. It's not in any specific order.
But
number
1, Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think you and I have missed a mainline Assassin's Creed game in many.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say I've never missed one.
No,
and
many.
Ezio Goes to Turkey. I don't think you played that one. Revelations, I believe that was called.
Oh, I didn't play that.
No, there's a lot more Assassin's Creed games than you might think.
Mainline.
Well, who's to say what's mainline?
Oh my gosh,
Ezio is mainline.
Now we're going to get into this debate.
So what do we love about this series?
Well, I think.
Well,
let me tell you what we love about Assassin's Creed, people. My favorite thing about the series is the whole like historical element of it. Like I love like learning about like.
What was your major in college?
History, European history.
Again, jackpot.
Not really related to anything
As
we're
they
doing
say,
now.
Major bag alert with those history majors, just raking it in.
Hey, you don't know. What if I uncover?
This is interesting because this series I think gets kind of lumped into stuff like National Treasure, where it's like, oh, this is like it's historical, but it's like pseudo historical.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough there that you can actually really like dig into it. And I will actually say I've actually learned a number of things.
Yeah.
And I have been inspired to
go to those
place.
places. Yeah.
After Assassin's Creed 2, the first Ezio game.
Everyone went to Italy.
I legit went to Italy.
Yeah, we all went to Italy.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, and of course, like you look around Italy, you're like, I could climb the tower. I could climb that tower.
Right.
He should definitely climb that tower.
Those towns are like very unchanged from those times. So like having that experience in that game of just walking down those streets, you can see like, oh, this is what that would be like, and that's really cool.
You're like, I could stab someone around this corner if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Don't do that in Italy. But that was like literally as I was walking around, I was annoying the people I was with. I was like, you could climb that.
Yeah, so there is like the weird kind of like pseudo historical stuff, and there's also the weird like ancient aliens storyline, which I don't know how much you like that.
That part of it always kind of like confused me. Honestly, it is the apple of Eden, that whole thing. I'm like,
the series does seem to like vacillate of like, is this important? Is this not important?
But they don't like actually show you that much of it because you're always like in the animus, like in the place that you are.
The last game, Valhalla, like it's huge. It's at the end of that game. There's a massive. It's a huge part of it. So maybe it's becoming more of the future, but yeah, and I think it's also interesting like how that series has like modernized over years, like which Origins, the Egypt
I love
game.
That one.
Like they've really like overhauled what that game was.
That's right.
It was kind of like annualized for a while, and I think it started to get a little burned out. And they sort of like, no, we're going to take some time and rethink this.
Rethink it. Yeah.
And it's a different game, but it's the same game.
It like opens up so much more though. Yeah. Like it feels like so much more exploratory.
Yeah. And the action feels better.
Way better.
The fighting was a little iffy in those really early games.
In the early games. Now
so that's why, like, we talked about this last week. Like, I'm a little afraid to go back to those pre-Origins games
those are on
because
Switch now, and we're
it just might not hold up super well.
Because the ones so Origins, and then there was the one in Greece.
Yeah. With Odyssey,
which is another one that blew me away. Good, and then Valhalla was.
But there was Black Flag.
Black Flag.
That is like it's like, oh, we're just gonna make like this amazing like pirate ship game. It's like, what?
The thing about that game was that it was distracting because I like did not do the main story. I was just like sailing around like plundering islands for like I don't know, like a month. It was great.
Right.
Yeah.
No, and they continue to put like little, boating segments.
I do like the boating things that's integrated into.
I'm sure from their perspective, it's like, well, we made this awesome, boating engine. Like, let's use it. Let's get some use out of it.
Let's get some boats in here.
Yeah. So we are.
Syndicate. That was another. That was
the England one,
which was also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big fans.
You have a printed out right there.
It's right there.
Oh, but it's covered up.
You covered it up with something.
What does it say? Nothing is forbidden. Everything is permitted. So I think that's what it is.
The creed of the assassin. You gave that to me.
It's a good third eye saying to look beyond your limits.
I had that on my desk at work for a really long time. You gave it to me when I was going through a really hard time, and I put it on my desk to remind myself that you could do whatever. You can push beyond these.
Here's this. Now get back to work.
But now they're in the studio.
Buck up, kiddo.
Pick up your face.
We got quotas.
You gotta meet the sales quotas. Selling Switch games out of my trunk.
All right. Number 2, Fable.
Oh, Fable.
The game that we bonded over.
Yes, the game that brought us together.
Now, I have a potentially blasphemous thing to say about Fable.
A hot take?
So Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game ever. Up to that point, I was not the most hardcore Zelda fan. I played every Zelda game.
Right. You were not into the puzzles so
much.
But
I am bad at puzzles.
Yeah.
I am dumb at puzzles.
But you just don't like them, I don't think.
Like Fable 2, for me, I was like, I actually wish Zelda was this more than it is, which...
Whoa.
Very, very controversial.
Controversial
But it was just like such a good blend of like exploration and action and progression.
Yeah.
And charm and humor.
The humor part of it was the best, though.
So, very British developer doing very British things.
It's funny.
Chicken chaser.
The chicken chaser. I like those stupid little like mini games they had in there too, like that tavern pouring.
The farting.
Yeah, I
love that British humor.
Like, the British humor is good. Like it's crude, but it's good.
Yeah.
But like, okay, they had that game where you were like a bartender and you had to pour the ale or whatever.
Yeah.
I would use like a piece of tape. And I tape the little where the meter needs to go on my TV screen, so I get like perfect pours every time. Like, oh my god, those were the kind of things we're messing around with Fable. You know, it's like the main game was great, but it was also the little side like quirky things that made it so special.
And that's another series, that gets roasted a lot because it's like, oh, Peter Molyneux didn't deliver on like his crazy promises for the first game, but it's like, no, there's actually
quite a lot in there.
If you look beyond that, which was like, all right, that was never going to happen in the first place. Like, there's a lot there.
There's a lot there
that really makes it feel like your story.
That exactly, yeah. We bonded over Fable 2.
That
was the one that we were both playing at the time.
And I actually went back and I replayed the remake of Fable 1 recently. Still holds up pretty well.
Holds up, yeah.
That's crazy how old that is. That's an original Xbox game. Fable 3 was a little iffy.
Yeah, Fable 3 I didn't love as much.
Yeah, it started to get
Fable 2 was like blow me away, amazing.
But the new Fable game announced. I was like, I don't know if that studio is in England. It's very important. I checked. They are.
They are.
So the British humor, the farting
be there.
will be
intact. The farting,
intact.
the chicken chasers, the taverns. Well, we're here for it. Let's go.
Number 3. God of War. Now I have a question for you. You obviously played the most recent one.
Yes.
What is your history with the ones before that? I'd like to know. Because this is another series that kind of transformed itself.
No, I played
You played those?
I played those,
okay. Because those are very different games.
Really different, yeah. I definitely played those older God of War games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think God of War 2 is probably my favorite of those. That was, I mean, again, that's crazy how old that game is. It's a PS2 game.
Which was the one with the crazy climbing?
I think that was one actually.
That was the one that I think I remember the most. Yeah, that must have been my first.
I felt like 2 was a much more refined version of 1.
You're right.
And then 3 was the one that was on PS3 and started to get a little like self-aware with like the crazy gore, and some of the stuff. And then there was like I think they did one after that. I think it was called God of War Ascension that like had multiplayer. I didn't play that.
I didn't play that one, I don't think.
And it kind of felt like, kind of like Assassin's Creed, that series was kind of falling off.
Yeah. Well, it's starting to get a little bit like repetitive at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and then of course they overhauled it.
Yeah,
and it's amazing now.
Yeah, so I am of Scandinavian heritage, so I of course enjoy all of the trappings of that, and of course the latest Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah,
because like I've actually like read some of the
the
Norse
actual Norse
myths and stuff. So
yeah, we
obviously
were inspired to read a lot of the myths after playing God of War. We read that really great Neil Gaiman book.
Yeah,
that was good.
Look at me learning on account of video games.
See, people say you can't get smart. Guess what?
We got smart.
We got smart. SMRT smart.
I've been smart and I got smarter.
Look at that great marketing brief I wrote. Come on, guys. Give us some credit. But yeah, it does inspire you to like learn more about like the history of those places and where these stories come from.
Right.
One of my favorite things about, speaking of like the stories, one of my favorite things about the latest God of War game is when you were like sitting in that little boat.
Oh, the boat.
They would just like tell you stories, and sometimes I just like sit in the boat. I'm like, oh, I should be like moving on with this mission, but just want to listen to the stories and the conversation. It's like so well done.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 4, Yakuza.
Oh yeah, the Yakuza.
Yeah. A little different from some of these other ones, but this is an amazing series that I think again has really gotten popular. It's almost like a Monster Hunter-y kind of trajectory where it's like it was very niche Japanese game, and then boom,
it blew up.
It kind of was maybe Yakuza 0 was the one where it started to get more mainstream.
Yeah.
But we both played Like a Dragon.
I loved that game so much.
When did we play that actually?
That was like over Christmas
It
break.
was maybe like
Thanksgiving.
Not that long ago, basically. Oh yeah, I think Thanksgiving we played that. Yeah, not that long ago. But that is a whole new character and kind of a whole new setting. But I mean, that series feels like it is just red hot right now.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for the next of those games. Just super zany, super action packed.
Yeah. And you have a very specific obsession with bubble era Japan.
Oh yeah,
which makes these games very like.
Well, Zero is the only one that's set in that time frame.
I know, but still, like it has like that weird
throwing money at the taxis.
You gotta throw the money. You got like the hundies out, those like you're in the club with the champagne and they're insane, like whatever. Yeah. But
I am not the crazy Yakuza player that will do all of the side stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd never finish that game.
Never finish that game.
But I do. Yeah.
The stock market stuff with the chicken that was like you're like is like part of the board. Like,
so I initially really didn't like that because it's kind of a lot for them to throw at you like midway into the game, and it took me a while to understand what was going on.
I had to watch like some tutorials on that, but then I grew to love them. Like I love
the shareholder meetings are some of the best. Like. Is it an in-joke for us because we dealt with like
shareholders?
We never worked on the Nintendo like shareholder report, but we knew enough about it that I think we could imagine
it felt like kind of visceral almost. Like you imagine like the pressure of this like foot tapping shareholder like glaring you down as you like reported your earnings.
And we could like imagine like Mr. Iwata at this like hotel banquet room in this very like generic thing, like reading the report.
Yeah.
And the foot
tapping is like ridiculous.
It is so.
And then you just cross your fingers. You pray for like the sake. You're like, please be sake. Please be sake. Please be sake. Or he gets really mad.
You can bomb in those. Oh man. Don't bomb.
Yeah, that's a very special executive skill that I do not have at all. Like, there's no way I'm giving a shareholder update.
You need to know the numbers.
There's no way.
You need to know it.
That's terrifying.
Last one. Spider-Man. Yeah.
Well, that series, I will admit that I jumped on pretty late. I didn't play like a lot.
Well, it's a relatively new. I mean, we're not talking about the whole history of Spider-Man.
Right.
Yeah.
But like the Insomniac ones, But yeah, I think that game is one of those like cinematic games done really well, where it doesn't feel like you're not doing anything, but it feels enough like you're watching like a Marvel movie. But you're playing a game, which is really cool. And you and I really enjoyed the Miles Morales one because we played it around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And it was like very festive. And
I didn't know that actually. As I was playing it around Christmas, like, oh, this is a nice little bonus. It's festive.
Yeah, it's really festive. And you feel like that sort of sense of like coming home for the holidays, meeting an old friend that turns out to be kind of evil.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The thing I love about that game is it's only like 6 or 7 hours long.
That's true. It's very doable.
But when I think back of my experience with it, like I had a very full gaming experience. Like I didn't feel like they were cutting corners or rushing or anything. It's like, no, they found a way
to like pack it all in.
There's no filler at all in that game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of wish more games would be like that, actually.
Yeah, because sometimes you get deterred when it's like, oh, this game's going to take 400 hours to complete. You're like,
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, you're like, but...
That game was long.
The ending was
80 hours,
crazy,
I think
We did do it, though.
We did.
It was long.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I was like, I can't storm
We couldn't let one another down.
more forts.
Yeah.
I really can't do this. It's the same.
The monastery needed to be raided, though.
I cannot raid the monasteries anymore. But yeah, it is a very it's like a very full experience, and it just does feel like you're watching a movie, you know?
So there's another one of those on the way. And then they're also doing a Wolverine game, which I think is going to be amazing. How is Insomniac making all these games?
Well, they're 6 hours long.
Like there was a stretch like early PS5 where it was like, oh, half the games that are actually native to PS5 Insomniac made. It's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, how big is that studio?
I don't know. They're onto something though.
They are. They got a formula worked out, or they got a system worked out. Yeah. Right. Yeah, the new, I rewatched the trailer for the new Spider-Man game, the reveal with Venom, just last night to refresh my memory of it. That looks good. Yeah. That looks really good. That's next year, so something to look forward to.
That's a launch date I won't worry about
2023,
until we get there.
They say.
All right.
It's far from here, from now, but
all right.
It's still coming.
I'll be ready when it's done.
Exactly.
So that's the list. There's the list.
That is the list. We would love to hear your list, too.
Yeah.
So tell us what series you guys love, non-Nintendo series. We'd love to hear it. Yeah. If you agree, let us know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or if you don't agree, let us know. Just tell us. Tell us all things.
Great segue, though. Yes. In the games we're playing, because we're playing a big non-Nintendo game right now, which is Horizon.
We are deep in Horizon.
Forbidden
West. We're going west.
Yes.
I said I've gone west, and then you were like, you're not
there yet.
You're not west yet. I'm like, oh, okay.
Was I right?
I think you're right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because yesterday we both got to that part of the line.
You dare not cross the line.
But I did.
We're not going deep into spoilers, mostly because we're not that far into this game.
We're not that far. No. Yeah. You and I are pretty much at the same point, I think. Maybe I'm mostly, a little bit ahead of you, maybe.
But we made it to the west.
We made it to the west. Yeah. This is your first Horizon game. I want to hear your thoughts.
You've played the original and this. You're playing this. I missed the first entirely. Yeah. And I got into this. And I tried to I was like, you got to show me some explainer to get me caught up.
Yeah. I sent you videos. You do not like them.
Well, I really was caught off guard by how much story there was in the first game, and how much happened and how story focused that game was. Yeah. I kind of knew, I was like, oh, this is in the future, the world got destroyed and now it's robot dinosaurs and stuff. And I didn't, but it's like, no, this is crazy how intricate this story is.
It's woven into the gameplay, woven into the, the different things that's happening. Yeah.
So I can see why it has such a passionate following, because I actually think now that I played this game, I think that the story and the setting is actually the best thing that this game has going for it. I have no complaints with the gameplay, but it's a pretty standard open world game, but the story is really unique,
interesting and unique,
and the character of Aloy, I really like her, and she really lives up to being the chosen one, and kind of acts. Usually you get the reluctant, oh, I'm like Jon Snow.
Yeah, she's I
don't want it, but she's like, no, I'm all that.
No, so get out of my way. She's a little she's like, don't call me a savior, call me Aloy kind of thing. She's still down to earth, but I think she knows that she's awesome, which is great. She's confident in that, right? You missed the first one, no big deal. It does, NBD, but it does build up to this, her becoming this character that you see now in Forbidden West. And like I said last week, this is probably one of the best stories that I've ever played in a video game. It's just the way that it reveals itself to you, and I can feel that happening in Forbidden West too, where it's there's these layers that we're peeling away. The general premise is stop the blight, save the world. It's pretty straightforward, but as you go through the game and meet different tribes and you're uncovering the story one piece at a time, you really get a sense of oh, this is very intricate, very deep, very well thought out.
You keep saying oh, there's going to be a crazy reveal. I'm like, what do you know?
I don't know anything, but this is what happened to me in the first game. I was going through this game very la la la. I'm just hanging out on this robot horse. This is great. And then all of a sudden it's you're a clone. I was like, what? Yeah. And I totally was blown away by this story reveal. So I kind of maybe I'm getting my expectations up, but I'm expecting these layers of Forbidden West to peel away into this great reveal that will significantly shift her life.
Right. I think one of the reasons I didn't play the first one was I had played some of that developer's earlier games, the Killzone games. Yeah. And that was another thing where I kind of liked the concept of those games, but they didn't play right. I felt, I was like, there's something about the way this plays that just, it
wasn't jiving with you?
It didn't feel responsive. It just felt like kludgy. So, but I was very happy. Like the way this game controls is super tight.
I was going to say, this is like, it feels great. Like as soon as you pick up the controller and start to move around, like it just feels like super snappy.
Yeah.
Like the character moves really well. There are different kinds of like combat styles that really kind of meld together well. You can do the range stuff with the arrows, obviously with the bow and arrow, and then the spear, the hard and the light and heavy attacks just feel really right. I love it.
Yeah, I had almost like a sense of relief of like, oh, they didn't do that again. Thank gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the combat is really, I like it a lot because you kind of need to. It's not a button mash kind of game at all.
You do have to like
these robots can take you down.
Oh, they're very scary, very intimidating. And I like how when you scan it, you have like where the weak areas are, and you've encountered the acid ones, right? Where you can like shoot the acid arrows and it just explodes it. Yeah. So you can do the stealth kills, which I am a personal fan of. I'm always like trying to hide in the grass and stuff. But, yeah, because I'm like too scared of the robots. I'm like, don't come at me. Like when it's like this scary like you know, horde of robot beasts coming at you. It's like, oh, it's intimidating.
But obviously, you know, kind of the calling card of this studio is these games look amazing.
Yeah, they do look amazing.
This one does look really great. Now there's a setting. Are you prioritizing frame rate or the resolution?
I think I prioritize resolution.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I did the opposite.
Because I play on my giant projector.
And
I feel like I need more resolution because it's like 120 inch screen.
It's one of those things where when you so I was like, maybe I'll go back and look at the resolution mode last night, and you kind of can't go back because it's so smooth.
It's so beautiful.
With the frame. Kind of the way my brain and eyes work, like I don't see a lot of difference in the level of detail, so I'm just happy to have the frame rate.
The frame rate?
Yeah.
I don't feel like the frame rate is dropping or anything like that.
We'll wait until you do this and go back.
Oh. Should I do that?
You should try it because it's really smooth.
It's smooth now.
Yeah, but we were talking about like we had the same experience of when we were playing Ghost of Tsushima, where it's so vibrant and there's so much
stuff.
It's like, oh, these leaves are falling down,
and there's like a firefly nest, and
there's like a cloud, and it's like your eyes are just like whoa.
It like kind of hurts your brain a little bit because it's like so much, especially in that first area, like that jungle-y area, where I was just like, I can't, I don't know where to look. It's making my eyes like blur.
Right.
But now that we're heading west or whatever, it's a little bit more like muted color tones and stuff. So now it just looks like you can see like, you know, the depth and all that stuff is beautiful.
Yeah. Right.
So you posted some vistas.
Yeah.
So I guess we are Vista approved on Horizon.
The vistas are very nice. Yeah.
The vistas are very nice.
I will say, so far, you know, the part I'm in is obviously open world. Mm-hmm. But it still feels like it has more room to open up. Yeah. Like you start in this big valley or canyon where, you know, you've got cliffs on both sides of you. Yeah. And I'm wanting to get to a part that's just more go anywhere.
Yeah, I think you're going to get there now because now that I'm looking at the map, like
now that I got the parasail directly from Breath of the Wild.
Directly from Link.
Robo parasail?
Robo parasail from Link. Link is handing you a robo parasail from Breath of the Wild. There's some similarities. Yeah. But like if you look at the map now, like the mission, the main story is like a very like small little path on the map, and then the whole area is unexplored for you to like wander around.
There's another mode that I'm curious what you chose. It's like, do you want the game to guide you?
Oh, I did guided.
Or do you want to figure it out on your own?
I did guided.
I did too.
Yeah. Although I kind of wish there was an in-between because now I'm like, there's too many pop-ups. After I like, you know, go through a battle or something, it's like I spend like 20 minutes going like collecting all the different parts, and there's like so many of those little triangle.
I think that leads to the visual fatigue a little bit.
Yeah, I wish there was like a mode that was in between, like lightly guide you,
or
something. I don't know, but it is like a lot. Like there's a lot going on like all the time visually.
Another. This is not just our review of the settings of this game, but one other thing that is not on by default that I turned on is motion aiming.
I got that turned on too. Yes. It's so nice to have motion aiming.
Every game that has shooting should have that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, It's wonderful.
Splatoon's legacy.
I know.
Here.
I'm not playing on a stacked up pillow, but we're good.
Not playing on a Wii U gamepad, but oh well.
Oh well. So we're both enjoying it quite a bit.
But we have Elden Ring coming this week. What are we gonna do? And I'm actually going out of town this weekend.
You are in a pickle of a dilly.
So I have this gizmo. Maybe some people called the backbone.
Yeah.
Which is like a controller shell for a phone.
For your phone, so you can do cloud streaming.
Right, because you can do remote play.
Yep.
Through PlayStation onto that.
That does work though.
It depends on how good your internet connection is, but I am bringing that with me. I'm crossing my fingers that this internet where I'm going
if it works, that
is going to work.
Yeah.
Because
you can get through a fair amount of that game this weekend, and then Elden Ring comes out on Friday.
Right.
And so
I could trade off between those. I could do a lot.
I'm definitely going to at least pause on Horizon to check out Elden Ring a little bit just to see it. Oh my god, this is a bad
Until you
idea.
get frustrated.
This is a bad idea. Like 2 huge games this together.
I'm not super thrilled about it, but
can't complain.
I also really want to see both.
I want to see both. Yeah.
So this game's long. We'll be checking in on this game
time to time for sure. Yeah.
Before Horizon came out,
you finally got on a boat with me.
I joined you
My
on
pirate crew
on the sloop, and we played some.
We had some
Sea
moments.
of Thieves.
We had some moments though.
So this was my first time playing this game. Do the tutorial, and it's like, all right, let's go do this.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This game has been out for so long. It is not super intuitive.
It's not. They don't hold your hand at all.
For a new player to like figure out kind of like the rhythm of the game or like what to do. They're like, go to this guy and get the mission. I'm like, well, where is that?
This guy?
And then when you get the mission, you've got to go and put it on the table.
And then you got to vote on it.
And then you've got to vote to do it.
And then you got to go to the map table to find it.
There's a lot of steps.
That's not clear.
Right.
And when you look at your quest log, it's like some poem, and you're like, okay, am I doing it or no?
So we did that, and then we got going, and I hit some just bizarre bugs, unfortunately.
You had some bugs,
where I kind of got catapulted into the sky, and I was watching you, and then I didn't realize I died.
You didn't realize.
And I respawned on like the ghost ship. And I was telling you, I'm on this ship, and there's like zombies, and you're like, oh, what?
The way that you were describing it to me, you're like, I can see you from space.
Yeah.
But I can't get back to you. I'm like,
right.
Okay.
But once we we just like quit out of the game and restarted. Once we got going, it was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. We did. I do quite a bit enjoy like just like sailing around and like the waves look beautiful.
You've got a lot of demands when it comes to get the anchor.
Well, you have to do what the captain said.
Who said you were the captain?
I did.
Do you have the big pointy hat?
Yes.
No, so do I.
I'm the
We've
captain.
all got that. We're on the Sea of Thieves.
You're the first mate.
What does that mean?
You're the deckhand. If you don't know what it means, then that's what you are.
I don't know what that means. I'm bailing you out because you keep hitting rocks.
That's what a deckhand would do.
I don't want to do that.
Well, that's what you did.
Anyhow, we've moved on from that.
We've moved on because we have to play Horizon now, but it was fun. Another multiplayer game that was a little bit shaky.
We played briefly.
Yeah, we played very briefly.
Brief impressions. Snap judgment.
Okay, so this is a thing where we're like, this game on paper sounds like something that's perfect for us.
Well, we should say what the game is.
It takes two.
It takes two.
We're like, oh, we love playing co-op games together.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. Right. Let's try this out.
It's just like, wow, this one Game of the Year at the Game Awards. People love this game.
Yeah.
So we gotta check this out.
We gotta check it out.
It's on Game Pass, so we did.
Yeah.
And
I think the story,
it's not for us.
The story part of it was just really off-putting for us.
Right.
We were like, what is the deal with these this poor little girl with her divorced parents?
The divorced parents.
And this is like that guy with the love guy, the book.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That was a little bit like weird for us.
And it was like, we've got to find a way to get through our
marital
disagreements
problems.
And cooperate on
it. What the hell?
It felt like you were playing like a corporate training course in video game form. Yeah.
It's like this is the how to be a better teamwork
makes the dream work.
There's no I in team.
Yeah. So
we played like the first. We played
through the first boss, and we kind of
like,
went our merry way.
Yeah.
So.
The gameplay part of it was very good though. I mean, I thought like the actual co-op part of it, like you had to work. You do have to. One person is doing something, a task is very different than the other person. Like that part of it was good, but just the overall sort of story.
So if we're making a big mistake by bailing on this game, let us know.
Tell us, or else Yeah, we're not going back. I like how we started really strong and then we just kind of like dwindled.
Well, the Switch Sports online test happened. You played. I didn't play it.
Oh my God,
we can't talk about it. You didn't know you couldn't talk about it. You had some close calls.
Dude, I was very close to being like taken out by a Nintendo Ninja. Those guys are no joke. I am scared of them. So I had deleted some tweets, man. You guys scared me. I have some stuff to say about this, though.
It's in the fine print?
It's very frustrating that it is somehow in fine print, that it was definitely not visible to me.
I didn't see that at all. Until you panic texted me while I was at the grocery store.
I was like, help! And then your response was like, what are you talking about?
I don't
know. I'm like, the Switch Sports, okay? Oh my God. Okay, so apparently it's in some fine print where it's like you can't share on social media any of your impressions from the playtest. And I was like, well, if you don't want people to share, then why did you make it okay for them to take a screenshot?
Unlike the end of Pokemon Legends
Arceus
where they don't let you take that beautiful crying as I'm trying to take this screenshot of the final screen.
The thank you for playing screen, they don't let you take. Again, that's a possible thing for you to lock if you didn't want people to share.
Yeah.
But I was able to take a screenshot and do all the Switch sharing stuff. So I'm like, what's the deal?
Yeah, and it's like, this game comes out in... It's like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a cool opportunity to get people excited about this game.
Yeah.
And, so I think they must have been really focused on the online test part of it and been like, well, maybe this is not ready for, again, I don't know. Maybe this is the thought process of like, we really need to find out if this online works.
Very Nintendo.
It's not ready for prime time. I don't know, but it was a little strange.
It was very strange. Yeah. And I definitely had to like delete some stuff. But I was like, I liked it. I thought the playtest I was able to get into a game of tennis and a game of, what is it, Chambara?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is too, but I was really good at it.
Well, the times that I booted it up, the test was not happening. So I made my strange looking, not a me, and turned it off. They have those the Animal Crossing noses where it's just like a triangle, but it's more real. It looks a little demonic.
Oh, no.
I don't love the look of those.
When I was playing the playtest, it wouldn't let me customize the generic Nami.
Oh, really?
So it was like, here's a random character.
Okay.
And go play this game now. And I was like, okay. I really wanted to get into a game of bowling, but it never showed up for me. It's all random.
Again, 2 months away.
Yeah.
And you're still here.
We better stop talking about it just in case something comes through the window at us. Jeez, my God. Okay.
On to the news. We got, the news section. Oh, we got a news song this week.
Wow. The news song.
We got this news section just wrote itself
long.
this week.
Yeah, kind of long.
So something that happened kind of right after we released the episode last week was this news about the 3DS and Wii U eShops.
No longer.
So as of late March 2023, it will no longer be possible to make purchases in the Nintendo eShop for Wii U and Nintendo 3DS. So that's, over a year from now.
Yeah.
But, this has happened, I think it was last year, Sony shut down like the Vita, and I think it was the PS3 shops. So it just seems to be like this thing that all of these companies are grappling with as these systems get older and older.
Yeah. Like, what do I do with this now?
Yeah.
Do I keep supporting it?
Yeah, it's like, I saw this thread from this guy on Twitter who was like, I work in IT and I think I know what is happening, where there's just a formula where it's like how much it costs to keep all of this going.
Yeah, versus
how much is
coming
in.
Yeah.
And he's like, depending on how they're doing it, it could be very expensive. So that's probably just what it is. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. But on the other hand, it's like, well, that's a lot of games that are just going to poof.
They're going to be like lost into the ether, basically.
Right.
The thing about the closing too is the DLC stuff. Like that only exists in digital form. So that part of it is like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's a little unfortunate. Because I mean, sure, you can buy the physical game if you really wanted to or whatever. But like, that stuff is gone.
Yeah, and I remember, the 3DS was the first Nintendo system that had an eShop. I remember we launched that with New Super Mario Brothers 2.
That's right.
Little gold Mario chasing the coins.
Coins.
Right. So it's like I can, there's just there's so many games that are digital only.
Right.
And it's like, it's too bad, but I can kind of live with, some of those going away.
Yeah.
But then it's like, take the Wii U, for example. There's those Metroid GBA games that you just strangely can't get
anywhere else.
And it's unclear why or if they'll ever come out anywhere.
Maybe they'll port it over to Switch.
Yeah, and it's like, well, this is not some random shovelware game. This is like a historically important game from one of is that a top 5 Nintendo franchise? Like, it's definitely a top 10. Metroid is a top 10 Nintendo franchise.
And if you're looking at things like the history of Metroid, not to include those games and having it not show up in any current systems is kind of a miss.
It's a bummer.
Especially when you have a new Metroid game coming out.
Right.
So it's maybe those are the considerations of things to
either
move over.
Metroid Dread is building on Metroid Fusion, which you can only play on your Wii U.
We had that problem because we were trying to do
we did a video.
We were trying to do a video. We were like, what do we have to dig out this Wii U now?
Dust out the Wii U.
Whew.
So I just see more and more companies having to grapple with this as the stuff gets older. And again, the company's going more digital, or the industry is going more digital. Yeah. It's what
do we do?
Where's this going?
Yeah.
And it's
and is there a solution?
Well, is there a good solution?
Maybe there's an industry-wide solution.
I don't know.
Be a standard that can be put in place, but that doesn't exist right now.
Right.
And so you just have this problem with well, it's gone forever.
Yeah. And it's just Nintendo's focus is now in the future and less so the past, which is
they're not historical at all, which is very bizarre because it's a company that's been around for
and has this crazy history. So it's one of those things where it's that's really unfortunate.
It's a little unfortunate.
And hopefully, people come around on that. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Your favorite topic, somehow coming up in 2 episodes of this beautiful show.
Last week, I really burned the IGNs and GameSpots of the world because why are they putting all this Marvel news in there? I can't find any video game news, and here I am 2 weeks in a row with Sonic movie news. 3rd Sonic movie on the way, plus Knuckles spin-off series start. Is it Idris? I think is how you say it.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, who you like. You're a fan of his.
I love him. He's very handsome.
You're a big fan.
Best thing to happen to Sonic.
So I guess this is kind of what happens with properties that are popular now. It's they just find ways to mine it to the nth degree.
Yes.
Because the Knuckles show is going on Paramount Plus, so it's all right.
Who is on Paramount Plus?
Well, they need people.
Oh boy.
Now the Sonic fans are going to be there. Won't be me.
Won't be you. Won't be me either.
So you got these movies, again, people like these movies. These movies make money. That's
great.
I guess
so, yeah. They're just going to keep...
But that was my thought. I was how many Sonic projects will there be before we get a whiff of this Mario movie? I just want to see this Mario movie.
Let's take a bet right now. How many? Do you think 5?
Probably more. I mean, they're going to crank out these games and movies and whatever other stuff.
Jeez.
A lot of people caught on to my comments about Sonic last week. They said, what's the deal?
What's the deal? Again, still can't reveal that yet.
We're not ready for this.
It's too spicy.
We're not ready.
Yeah.
It goes very deep into my personal backstory.
And your psyche.
As a human being to my childhood. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we need a full-on session.
I need some tissues.
You need to lay down on a couch
I need the giant boo to come over for me to hold it. So it's best that we just move on. Cyberpunk 2077 update is out.
You had a problem. You had a problem. Something happened to you.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Does it work?
So this game came out it's over a year ago.
It's been over a year, yeah.
The game was a mess. Got delisted from the PlayStation Store. They said, we're going to work on these. They have these crazy roadmaps. So the updates came out.
It's supposed to be good.
Where they, supposedly
fixed
adjusted.
All the problems.
And it's, made for next-gen systems now. So the graphics are
upright
contemporary.
Yeah.
So I was like, great. I've been waiting for this. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
On Amazon, see a little picture. It's clearly the North American version of the game.
Oh, boy.
Buy it now.
And then
2 days later, shows up. I got the European version.
The PEGI ratings are on there and everything?
I was like, is this going to work? And people are like, well, it'll play, but you can't get any of the updates. Like, well, that's a waste. So I returned that.
So you did return it?
I'll just buy it digital.
So that's what I'm going to buy it digital.
Are you going to play this game now?
I'm going to play it, yeah. But not right now. I'm busy right now.
Yeah. Just add it directly into the backlog.
Yeah.
But
I want to play it.
So it's been over a year, and it's feels like people have kind of forgotten what an unmitigated disaster that launch was.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The multiple apology emails that this poor studio had to write.
And the other thing that I just don't understand is this is when the PS5 was coming out. I think this game came out after the PS5 was out. It's why didn't they just wait and put it out on the PS5? instead of putting out this PS4 version that didn't work in the first place?
I don't know.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And there must have been some crazy pressure there to just
there must have been.
We need to get it out now.
I'm sure there are voices within the company that was like, hey, we can't do this, and no one probably listened to them. It's very typical.
Because there's always these games that straddle these generations, but it's like, this is a game that actually needed that extra
stuff and from the next-gen systems.
Yeah, and bugs aside, it's like, no, this probably would have been awesome if they could have, delivered a clean version of this game.
Yeah.
So
it was like really highly anticipated, and everyone's expectations were totally dashed.
But then you hear the stories like, oh, this sold like 50 million copies, so I guess nobody's going to learn any lessons at all.
So it's just going to go along our merry way and complain, but not actually not buy it. So fine.
Oh, and the back to Horizon, unlocking this Horizon.
We both unlocked it.
Forbidden West trophy also plants a real life tree. Did we?
Yeah, we got through that. You've definitely gotten past that. That's the first part.
Oh, I see. So we should say.
Yeah. You reach the Daunt trophy, which is the first mission.
Sony has partnered with the Arbor Day Foundation to plant a tree for every unlock of the Reached the Daunt trophy, which apparently is very early on.
It's like the first mission.
I am not a trophy hunter. I don't care. But
but you planted a tree.
A tree will be planted in my honor.
Yeah, it's either that or 280,000 trees or something like that.
That was the maximum.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But one of the trees, or one of the areas they're planting it is a part of California.
Can I go visit my tree?
I want my tree to be planted.
Did you ever buy a star? Or did you ever get that for a gift? Like, this is your star.
That's cool.
That's a scam. It's not actually yours.
Really?
No, it's not your star.
You can't get you actually can't do that?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's a scam.
I thought it was really cute. But I hope my tree is in California because that'd be really cool.
This is a cool program though. I like this.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Okay.
Oh, this happened.
The Capcom countdown that we talked about last week. It happened.
Street Fighter 6.
It was Street Fighter 6. There was a very short CG movie of hot buff Ryu shirtless.
And hid toes.
I didn't see those. It says
it was very muscular.
More info this summer.
Yeah.
Why did they feel compelled to do this?
6 hours for Street Fighter 6. I think that was the...
No, but it was like a week in advance. They pre-announced this. And then there's
hype.
And now we're waiting until the summer.
The hype.
Well, why not just wait until the summer? And announce it. But there's no hype.
Get on that hype train.
You just look at this.
Shovel your coal into the hype train.
This gif of shirtless Ryu. Just reload that for 6 months or whatever.
That's how much summer is like.
It's the dead of winter.
It's like 4 months
summer.
away. 4 months away.
That's what's going to keep me warm, this gif of Ryu.
Just imagine those strong, muscular arms wrapped around you in the dead of winter.
All right,
See? Look at that. It's getting kind of heated in here already, isn't it?
Warming up to this, yeah.
See? Yeah. Someone made a funny comment. It was Brian Otano tweeted, why does the Street Fighter 6 logo looks like Street Fighter got 6 emails? There's a little 6 in the thing. Oh my God, I died. It was so funny.
There is something that I've seen a few people point out on social media of maybe you wonder why some games get announced so early and companies actually use it as a recruiting tool. Because it's this
we need you to work
why don't
on
you come
Street
work
Fighter
on
6?
this? Yeah, come work on this project. We couldn't tell you before, but it's this big franchise.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe that's what they were doing. I don't know.
Did they have to trademark something? When you trademark stuff, things leak?
Now, leaks are always another.
Leaks.
The Australian leaks, we've dealt with those.
The retail leaks, yeah.
Street Fighter 6 though is another one. Kind of going back to my point on Splatoon last week, it's I want to know why this needs to be a new game and not just more updates for Street Fighter 5 because they put out a ton of updates for that game. So it's
well, it's got to be some cool differentiator.
It can't just be more characters. Kind of the visual style kind of looks the same. So that's what I'm going to be looking for when they finally properly show this.
You got to wait 4 months.
More than 4. Well, maybe not more.
4 months, yeah.
Okay.
June is in 4 months.
All right.
There you go. We'll wait and see. We'll revisit.
All right.
This is a very boring.
Last one. Well, I thought we could just so there's this industry event called DICE that is happening this week in Las Vegas, and people might just wonder what is that? I've heard of that. What is it? So that's an event we never went to.
It's an industry event.
It is the schmoozing event.
It is boring.
Yeah. This is where people go and make deals of sign this game for my platform or you're going to fund this game.
It's for the big wigs, the industry big wigs.
News is not going to come out of this unless there's something that leaks. That's the other thing people say is this flight to Vegas, I can see this guy's PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, that happens sometimes. That actually happens to somebody on a flight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was already seeing people posting about that.
That was always, I found someone's binder at the party.
Exactly.
And it has their roadmap on it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it's I think they do awards too. And
oh yeah, they do
like
the awards. Yeah. So nothing to get too excited about. Yeah.
Unless you want to plant some fake PowerPoint presentations.
So now you know. Oh, that could be fun, actually.
You like infiltrate dice to plant fake PowerPoint. Just leave a laptop somewhere that says like, I don't know, Open World Mega Man coming in 2024.
Oh, don't tease me about that. All right. That's it for our news.
That's the news. Oh my Lord.
They did say Pokemon Day is coming up. So I think next week we'll be able to talk about Pokemon Day.
We should talk about Pokemon Day. Pokemon Day is always fun. Yeah. Always fun.
But we're on to questions. And this week,
thanks for your questions, guys.
All of our questions this week are from our beautiful Patreon members.
Yay!
So thank you. And as always, we prioritize Patreon for questions. So let's jump into these. Well, we got a lot of them. We better get going.
It's a long list of questions here.
Question about your Nintendo era. What was the water cooler talk around the office about the online Nintendo game experience? It seems like no one has realized how to actually do good Nintendo Online until Mario Party Superstars. What's your opinion on it?
I would say Mario Kart 8 was actually pretty good online.
It's incredible. Yeah. That game is very solid, functional, but it works.
Yeah. No, but that's all you can ask for with Nintendo Online, really. Functional and it works.
Going back to even before I worked at Nintendo, Super Smash Bros. Brawl on Wii was the first Super Smash Bros. Game to have online play. Yeah. One of my most painful, bitter gaming disappointments is that game's online mode, because I was like, oh, I love Smash Brothers.
This is it. Now you can finally play with your friends.
I'm going to be online on this game nonstop, and then you start it up and it's a slideshow.
It literally does not work.
And it's unplayable.
Yeah, the lag is so bad. It's just.
And then we had another Smash Brothers game, unplayable, and then Ultimate, which was kind of unplayable.
It got a little better towards the end.
It did get better,
but still not great.
But
not for like real players that want to play like competitively.
I don't know.
The water cooler talk is that there are some people that understood how annoying this is for players, and other people who just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's
really.
I mean, we're not developers, so it's like we wish it was better, but we don't know
what to do. Yeah, and there's a lot of those instances where you're like, hey, the community is saying like this doesn't work.
Yeah,
and then it's like, well, what do we do now?
Yeah, but nobody's blind to that fact that like people are unhappy with this. But it's just like, well, I'm not Mr. Online, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
No, we should say that was a question from Tug's Puppy Bear. Very cute name.
Avatar as well.
Moving on, a question from Jordan Collette. You're hired to voice a character in the new Mario movie. Which character would you choose to be, and who would you choose for each other?
Oh, okay. Why don't you choose mine first?
Toad.
I was going to say I want to be Toad.
I was going to say I want to be Toad too.
Really? We're all going to be Toad?
Yeah.
Hi! I know Toad voice is not bad.
It feels like you can just troll people.
I think Toad is perfect.
But it's a little rough on your vocal cords.
You got to drink the honey tea afterwards. Yeah, Toad all around maybe for this question.
Yeah.
Toadette is okay too. I'll take Toadette as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Hire us to play Toad and Toadette.
All right.
There you go.
That ended up being much easier than it could have been. Next from Jared Waz. Do you guys play any board games? Do you have any favorites you could share? So I always want to play board games, but I either don't have time or don't have the right people around to do it.
That's true.
So I have a lot of board games that like are still in the shrink wrap.
Oh, really?
Because it's like one day I'll play this.
I love board games.
One day I'll have friends.
My latest one that I've been playing is called Forbidden Island. This one's really fun. It's 2 to like 6 players, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a co-op multiplayer game. So you're working together to like get off the island. So it's kind of interesting because I've never played like a co-op board game before where you're not, competing against other players. Yeah,
that's cool.
But it's very fun. I recommend this game.
There is one that I bought recently. Again, I have nobody to play this with. It's Jaws, the board game. The shark, because I love sharks.
You love sharks.
And it's also cooperative where it's like you're working together against the shark, and it's the board, you flip it over because it's like part of it's on land and then part of it you're on the ocean in that little boat. So maybe in 2035 I'll have played the Jaws
Maybe
board game.
We'll do a play the Jaws board game session.
Another thing, though,
video.
One of my like aspirations, like whenever I
you want to paint the
retire, I'm like, I just want to like paint and play like Warhammer miniatures.
Yeah, the miniatures. Like every time I go to PAX, you're like, do you think I should do this? Do you think I should get into this?
I should really get into this.
I'm like, do I need it?
Once
again, I have to talk you off the ledge on this.
Yeah.
Or you look at those like gaming tables, you're like, yes, I need to buy this. I'm like, you cannot buy this, honestly.
But it's a dining table, and then after dinner, it goes away.
Like, you can't buy this.
Game in there. I really want one of those.
It's pretty cool, but it's like a huge investment.
Hashtag future sponsor. Let's make it happen, people.
Make it happen. Manifest.
Next, Daniels 24. What does Krista's mom think of all your nonsense? I'll leave that to you because I don't know.
I think she's fine. Like, she's downstairs right now. I'm sure she can hear us laughing and like just being ridiculous up here.
Yeah.
But she's very good about like feeding us and making us like lunch and stuff. But yeah, no, I think she gets it, which is kind of interesting for like an old Chinese woman. But like she understands, she like watches YouTube. She used to watch Nintendo Minute, you know, so she like kind of gets it, which is nice. So she doesn't, it's not like, what the heck are you doing up there, you weirdo? Like she understands that we're like, this is what we're doing, you know? Yeah, she's very supportive.
Maybe she'll send us a bill at the end of the month, right?
Oh no.
All this electricity you used.
Oh, these lights are on. Oh no.
Those burning lights.
Oh no. All right. Retro Drew TV.
Yes.
When you worked at Nintendo, was playing games outside of Nintendo Minute actually part of your jobs? And if so, how much time did you both spend doing it? No, playing games was not part of our jobs.
Well, I think it's important to make a distinction between like games that were out and games that were not out.
Yeah.
Because there was always like, you know, it's like, oh, we really recommend that everybody be up to speed and, you know, be knowledgeable about all of the new releases. You know, you and I, obviously, you know, we just love playing. Like, that's what we were doing every night, regardless of whether we'd be working at Nintendo or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, but there's also really good, like, we had, you know, people come out and show us games before they came out.
Yeah.
So we could like try them out and do like demos and stuff like that. So we did have access to games.
Yeah. But it's not like we had, you know, the Switch dev kit at our desk.
No, and it wasn't like someone's like, you have to log like 30 hours of gameplay like this week or something like that. So no, we didn't have to do anything like that.
I do remember the one game where it was Dragon Quest IX going way back.
Ooh, great game.
We did have a Nintendo DS like chained to our desk.
We did,
and it was like, get as far into this game as you
possibly can. And that actually, I think we were actually playing. Like sometimes we would just be in our offices like playing those like chained up 3DS.
Right. I actually prefer. I think I got just the right amount of exposure to games pre-launch because those save games never carry over.
Yeah,
and it's
you
like
can't
I don't want
transfer your stuff over.
I don't want to restart this, you know, 40-hour game that I'm 30 hours into.
Exactly. So. Those games, any sort of like Fire Emblem games that we would get access to early. It's like, well, I can't transfer the storyline over. So like, what am I doing?
Like, I'll get as much as I need
to know how to market the game.
How to do this. Yeah. And then I'll get the full experience, you know, right around when it comes out.
Yeah. I always kind of like bittersweet. Didn't really like this because you lose your like element of surprise because you would know exactly what happened. Like you would see like all of the stories.
If you were working on a game, you would get spoiled.
There was no way to not get spoiled.
Yeah.
Like Skyward Sword was one that just killed me because I was like, please don't send me this schedule.
You need my
I don't want this
viewpoint on life where I just don't care about spoilers.
But it was like important to me. So like, you don't care. Ugh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but you know, you do get spoiled. This is a long.
Now, this is a long one, but there's one particular point that I want to hone in on. So this is from Kevin Farragon, who's asking about Rhythm Heaven games. But let's look at the end of this. Did Kit ever get his Rhythm Tengoku copy back?
No, and he won't ever.
So the backstory of this is really a tragic story.
It's not.
Long before I worked at Nintendo, I think I was with. Was I with Konami or Bandai Namco? Whatever. I went for a TGS, Tokyo Game Show, and there was a game people were talking about, Rhythm Tengoku. This was before Kevin had even come out in the US. And they're like, oh, this is crazy. Game Boy Advance game. It's only out in Japan, but it's awesome. So I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to Japan. I'm going to go to Akihabara and buy this game.
Yeah.
And I did.
And you gave it to your best friend.
And then I came to Nintendo and I was talking to you about it. And you're like, oh, I'd love to check that out. I was like, oh, sure. And I let you borrow it. And I never saw that game ever again.
Yeah, because you gave it to me. You said
I let you borrow it.
You said, you're such a nice, wonderful person. I'm going to give you this game that you love.
It's not what happened at all.
It is.
I want it back.
You don't know.
I really have like issues with loaning things to people because I very rarely get the stuff back. There's another game that I got in Japan.
That you didn't give to me.
I didn't give it to you. Oh, the game is Oendon, which was kind of the precursor to Elite Beat Agents.
Oh, that's a good game.
On Nintendo DS. I gave that to another person in the office. Never saw that game ever again. And that person has since moved on in life. I can't get another copy of Oendon easily. Are you joking?
eBay?
I need that. That's a lot of money. I don't have Oendon bucks, okay? I don't have it. I got Wham, but Wham is walking around money. That's a term we use a lot.
I am taking very good care.
But I want to play it.
No, you don't.
I want to play it every day.
You're not going to play it.
That game has a little drum kit that you can do.
It does. It's very cute.
Yeah.
It's mine.
It's not.
You gave it to me.
We're going to revisit. Maybe that can be like a challenge, like a throwdown challenge. Like if I win, I get it back.
No.
Too high stakes for you?
Yes.
We got one more question from Trevor Goody. Do you have any pets? And if so, is it possible we might be able to be introduced to them on a future episode?
You've seen my pets.
That was a very early Nintendo Minute episode.
Yeah.
We fit you with dogs.
With dogs, yes.
Because that was one of the best features of...
You can weigh your dog.
You could put, yeah.
It's so cute. Yes, that was very cute.
Yes.
But I have 2 dogs and a cat.
You have a lot of pets.
It's only 3.
Getting up there.
I like them. They're very good.
Yeah.
You've seen them on many videos. I feel like Momo has made many appearances.
Oh, that's true.
For Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fluttery. She was featured heavily in those Nintendo Minute videos as the stunt cat. But we can feature our pets, of course. Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of your questions. Thank you very much for your questions.
Yes, thank you. Keep sending in your questions. We'll do like a call for questions every week. I'm sure you guys have more questions for us, so we're happy to answer them.
Ooh, I'm pooped.
We did it.
We did it.
We made it to the end. I got to do my big reminders. So don't forget.
I'm going to be watching this closely.
Closely. Make sure I hit all the points.
Yes.
Well, again, we are on our official, upload Patreon schedule now. Yeah. So everybody that is part of our Patreon will get the episodes on Wednesday, both the audio and video versions. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone else, you'll get the episodes on Fridays. So if you want the episodes 48 hours in advance, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/KitandKrysta. We'll put the links below for you guys. On YouTube, we will have the full episodes and our highlights, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We also do bonus videos there. We'll be doing lots of other fun things. We just unlocked...
We did a great video
yes.
since we last did a podcast showing off some of our Nintendo treasures.
Yes, so we want that to be a series, and it seemed like you guys liked it, so we are looking to do more of those. Yeah. But yeah, we're getting like our gameplay stuff set up, so we're hoping to do more traditional, Kit and Krysta videos very soon. So don't forget to follow us on YouTube.
Yeah, we do get some questions of like, oh, are you on this social channel? Are you on that social channel? Every one of our social channels is just /Kit and Krysta.
Yes, we're on Twitter,
yeah,
TikTok, and Instagram, and
YouTube.
And YouTube, of course, YouTube. And on social, that's the main place where you're able to interact with us and chat, and we're looking at all of your comments and your questions and your thoughts. So
it's us.
We
don't have the social media community manager. There's nobody. It's just us.
Again, it's just us doing all the things.
It's Rob.
It's Slime.
He's got no hands.
He's like bouncing around on the keyboard. So follow us on our social channels. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Yeah. Like this video, share it, hit that notification bell, do all the things that you can do on YouTube. Do it. Just do it. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for today.
That brings us to the end.
Yes.
Wonderful.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.